A government buried the truth about a vanished ship and the 13 souls it took with it. One of them wasn't supposed to be there, and he brought something back that was never meant to escape. But oceanographer Wes Granger didn't run, he descended. And what he uncovered at 14,000 feet turned silence into a scream the world couldn't ignore. Just wait until you see how this ends.
The transmission crackled like a bone snapping under pressure. For 22 seconds, the world held its breath. Something's wrong below deck, they're inside. Then silence. No screams, no static, just absence. The Pacific Dawn vanished from radar without a sound. 12 crew, steel giant, clear weather. The Coast Guard scanned a 500-mile radius, nothing. No debris, no emergency beacon, just an empty ocean and a question that kept growing louder. 3 weeks later, a Chilean fishing trawler spotted something adrift at dawn. A shadow against the morning mist. Yellowed hull, silent, still. Paint chipped, nameplate warped, but unmistakable. The Pacific Dawn. Salvage crews boarded. No bodies, no lifeboats missing. Food still warm in the galley. Plates set for dinner. Coffee cups half full. The freezer buzzed like it had never stopped. Every door was sealed, every locker untouched. Not a drop of blood. But something was wrong. Down in the control room, the bridge log sat open. The last entry scrawled in uneven block letters. Don't listen to them. Don't open it. No signature, no coordinates, just that sentence. It was enough. Authorities ordered the ship sealed, tagged, and buried beneath bureaucracy. Docked, locked, forgotten. Until 20 years later. Wes Granger didn't believe in ghost stories. He was a scientist, not a fantasist. But when the sonar ping returned a steel silhouette at the base of an unmapped trench, his heart jumped. Claire looked at the screen. It's a ship, a big one. He adjusted the signal overlay. Hull dimensions matched. Nameplate faint but readable. Pacific Dawn. They lowered the dive cam. Pressure cracked the signal intermittently. At 13,000 feet, the trench glowed strangely blue. Then they saw it. The ship rested tilted on its side, corroded but intact. Fouling on the exterior, but no visible breach. The hull hadn't buckled. The ocean hadn't claimed it. It had sunk whole, like something had dragged it down gently. Wes watched the footage again. Why didn't they mark this trench? Claire scanned the archives. There's no record of this depression ever being here. He frowned. We're in open water. That's impossible. They sent the submersible next. High-speed imaging, samples. But what they found wasn't rust. The entire interior, bulkheads, floors, pipes, covered in scratches. Not random corrosion, not pressure erosion. Words. Claire leaned in, breath catching. Oh my God. English, French, Greek, Aramaic, Latin, Egyptian. Even language they couldn't identify, all repeating the same sentence. Don't let them out. Claire whispered it. Wes's skin crawled. He rewound the feed, slowed frame by frame. Some letters were scratched violently, others careful, but all carved from inside. He stared at the entry point camera. Behind the sealed bulkhead, the crew's quarters should be. The door was deformed outward, bent, as if something had pushed from within. Claire's hand shook as she pulled out the sealed evidence bag. A journal, plastic wrapped. Name embossed, Petty Officer Liam Croft, radio technician. They opened it. The ink had bled in parts, but one page remained dry, protected under a folded piece of foil. Wes read aloud. They whisper through the pipes. They creak when no one moves. They say your name, and you forget it was ever yours. Claire backed away. What does that mean? Another page. They found room 12, but it's not on any blueprint. It moves. Don't follow the noise. It's not a person. Wes flipped again. Final page. Dated June 7th, 1999, 1 day before the transmission. The captain tried to open it. I begged him. He said there was knocking, but it wasn't from outside. It was coming from the floor. Claire covered her mouth. Wes looked up at the monitor. Their dive cam feed flickered, then cut to black. Claire, check the link. She tapped the keys. No errors. It's just gone. Then the feed returned, for half a second. A flash of something moving in the dark corridor. Long, slender, not human. Wes froze the frame. Nothing there, just shadow. But the hallway had changed. There was a door at the end that hadn't been there in the last 10 scans. Claire whispered, "That wasn't there before." Wes nodded slowly. "I think that's room 12. Suddenly, the ship's sonar returned a burst echo, as if it had pulsed, like a heartbeat. Wes backed away from the monitor. "We didn't find a wreck." Claire's voice cracked. "We found a tomb." Wes whispered, "No, worse." He held up the journal again. "We found the lock, and someone already turned the key." A thud echoed from the submersible hull. 3 sharp knocks. Even at 13,000 feet, Wes heard it clearly. From inside the ocean, from inside the screen. Claire turned to him. "What now?" Wes stared straight at the glass. "Now we pray." But they both knew the truth. That knock wasn't asking to come in. It was announcing that something was already out.
Wes didn't wait for backup. The men in black SUVs had said enough. No names, no agencies. Just the phrase, "You were never here." He uploaded the footage that night. Blurred faces, glitched audio, but clear enough. Too clear. By morning, the video hit 4 million views. Comments exploded. Conspiracy channels, linguists, survivalists, everyone had a theory. None were right. But one message stood out. Short, no punctuation, no emoji. Just, "I was on that ship. Meet me. Don't bring anyone." Levi Maddox, listed as deceased. Body never recovered. Third mate aboard Pacific Dawn. Wes booked the flight. Anchorage. No delays, no second thoughts. The cafe was near empty. Levi sat at the far end, gaunt, one eye slightly milky, hands shaking as he lit a cigarette with fingers that looked too thin to function. But his eyes, those were alive, watching everything. Wes sat, hit record on his phone, didn't ask permission. "You shouldn't have found it," Levi said. His voice was sandpaper, scraped dry. Wes leaned in. "What happened on Pacific Dawn?" Levi exhaled smoke. "There's a room," he muttered. "Not on any blueprint. It only appeared on the 7th day." Wes waited. Levi leaned closer. And something was already inside. The air in the cafe dropped 10 degrees. Wes spoke low. "What do you mean, appeared?" Levi's mouth twitched. "We mapped every inch of that ship. No such room. No door, no wall. Then one night, it was just there. And no one noticed before? We walked past it every day. But that night, we heard it." Wes whispered. "Heard what?" Levi's voice broke. Breathing. Not mechanical, not wind. Breathing. He fumbled in his coat, pulled out a photo. Old, faded. 10 men, all smiling at something off camera. Too wide, too frozen. Something was off. "Who are they?" Wes asked. Levi pointed. "Top row, that's me. Before the eyes." Wes squinted. "The eyes?" Levi shook his head. "Every one of us looked different after we saw it. I don't remember the change, but it happened." Wes counted. "Wait, 12 crew. This is 13 people." Levi didn't blink. "There were always 13. That's the lie. You forget that part. That's how it starts." Wes pointed to the man in the back. Blurry, no name tag, barefoot. "Who's that?" Levi's eyes hardened. We never hired him, never bunked him. He just was. What did he say? Levi crushed his cigarette. He didn't talk, just stood in corners, watched, smiled. Wes tightened around his phone. You said the room appeared on day 7. Levi nodded. And by day 9, Rodriguez was dead, locked in the freezer, no fingerprints, door sealed from outside. Wes flinched. No one saw anything? Levi laughed once. No one remembered anything. We sat down to eat. His plate was still full. We didn't ask. Not one of us asked where he was. Claire had said something similar in the lab. She'd read the line from the journal. They eat memory. Wes's stomach churned. Did you go inside the room? Levi's smile vanished. One by one, we were drawn in. Sometimes alone, sometimes in pairs. But it didn't matter. It changed us. How? Levi's voice dropped to a whisper. We stopped sleeping, stopped bleeding. Laughter didn't feel like laughter anymore. And the walls started moving. Wes stared. You're saying the ship was alive? Levi looked him dead in the eye. No, I'm saying something else was living through it. Wes backed away. His mind raced. He needed proof, something physical. Then Levi slid one more item across the table. A scrap of parchment, thick, oily, etched with symbols, not carved, but raised, like flesh. What is this? Found it inside the wall, behind a pipe. It hummed when I touched it. Wes didn't want to hold it. Did anyway. It pulsed. He dropped it instantly. It hit the floor without a sound, just a thud, like a heartbeat. Levi looked at him. There's more. You think it sank and stayed sunk? No, Wes. It spread. Wes frowned. What do you mean? Levi leaned in, breath shaking. You opened the story. Now the story's looking back. From the cafe door, a wind howled in. The window shook. Every phone in the room vibrated. No calls, just a notification. Same message, same line. Every language. Don't let them out. Wes stood slowly. The parchment on the floor was gone. Levi didn't move. Your next question shouldn't be who was in the photo. It should be, how did he get back out? And outside, Wes's car alarm wailed without reason.
The photo hit the table with a dull slap. Faded, warped from heat. 10 men in uniform. Smiles stretched too wide. Eyes glassy, almost wet. Then the 11th figure, just behind them. Barefoot, white shirt, slightly blurred. No one looked at him, but he looked at the camera. Wes counted. Wait, 12 crew, this makes 13. Levi didn't blink. There were 13 from the start, but none of us knew it. Wes leaned in, tension climbing his spine. What do you mean? Levi's voice thinned. He was there before we sailed. First night roll call, no one noticed. But by the 3rd day, we stopped asking questions. He reached for another cigarette. Like our brains rewired themselves, just accepted him. Wes's mouth felt dry. No name tag? No cabin. Levi lit the cigarette. No shift, never ate. But he was always there, just standing, like he was waiting for something. Wes pressed. When did you first realize something was wrong? Levi exhaled smoke. When Rodriguez asked him his name, Wes straightened. Levi continued. He said it straight-faced, calm, like he'd practiced it forever. I'm the silence between steps. Wes blanked. That's not a name. Levi nodded. No, it's a warning. He tapped the photo. Look closer at our eyes. You'll see it. We weren't looking at the camera. We were trying not to blank. Wes studied the image. He saw it now. Tension in their shoulders, jaws clenched, like they were mid-command, holding their breath. Levi whispered, 3 hours after that photo, we found Rodriguez in the freezer. Wes didn't move,
Dead? Frozen, solid, door sealed from the outside. The noise in the cafe faded. Levi's voice dropped. And the worst part? No one panicked, no one cried. We just kept eating. Wes sat back, mind spinning. Why didn't anyone report it? Levi looked at the window, eyes glassy. Because something didn't want us to. It smoothed over memory like waves over sand. Wes shook his head. That's not possible. Levi's stare sharpened. Neither is a ship room that only exists after a week at sea. That night, Wes couldn't sleep. He replayed the conversation, watched Levi's face. Every line carried weight. Every pause felt earned. He opened the raw audio file. At the exact second Levi mentioned the freezer, a sound, low, garbled. He boosted the gain, filtered background. There it was, a whisper. Not in English, but the syllables were clear, ritualistic, repeating. Then, clarity. 3 words. He was warned. Wes pulled back, heart pounding. He checked the file's metadata. No anomalies, no edits. But the waveform had shifted, as if the sound had written itself in. Then the screen blinked, once, twice, and a new folder appeared, unlabeled, origin, labeled Day 8. He froze. No one else had this footage. No one knew he had talked to Levi. And yet, here it was. He clicked. The bridge cam flickered, static, then motion. The man, barefoot, standing alone in the center of the deck. No crew, no captain, just him. He stared directly into the lens, not blinking, not breathing. Then he smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't belong on a human face. The video cut off, 7 seconds long. Wes checked the timestamp. June 8, 1999, 1 day after Pacific Dawn vanished from radar. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Blocked caller ID. He answered. Silence. Then, do not look for him. Click. Wes slammed the laptop shut. But when he reopened it, the bridge cam footage played again. This time, frame by frame. And in the final frame, something behind the barefoot man. A shape, like a shadow bending the light. Wrong geometry. Too many corners. Too much curve. It moved like it wasn't moving. Wes stared. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Because, behind the thing, just barely, was another figure. One he'd seen before. Rodriguez. Face frozen in terror. Mouth open. Eyes black. He was mouthing something. Wes zoomed in. Pixelated, blurry. Still, he could read it. One word. No. The screen went black, and from inside his apartment hallway, 3 knocks echoed against the door. The IP trail was ice cold. 5 countries, 3 VPNs. Wes traced it all night, eyes burning. Final ping, port of San Antonio, Chile. Pacific Dawn's last dock. He didn't tell Claire until his ticket was booked. She stood in the doorway. You're not thinking clearly. Wes zipped the duffel bag. I don't care about clear. I care about answers. Her voice cracked. This thing, it's not just following you. It's inside the story now. Wes paused. That's why I need to end it. Chilly, midnight. The docks were skeletal. Rust and salt coated every bolt. Wes walked past stacked containers, forgotten signs, paint peeled to bone. Only one man still worked this stretch. Mateo, 70-something, hands like leather, eyes cloudy but sharp. You want ghost ship? He chuckled. You're 20 years late. Wes showed him the photo. The man in the white shirt, the barefoot figure. Mateo's face changed. Pale, stone. I saw him. Wes leaned in. When? Night before the Dawn left. He wasn't crew, just standing on the dock, staring at the ship.
Wes stiffened. "Did you tell anyone?" "I tried." Mateo swallowed. "Next morning, I woke up in my bed choking, mouth full of salt water." He pointed to a small shed. "Storage. They kept everything from the ship in there. Took it back later, but something stayed." Wes broke the lock with a crowbar. The smell hit first. Iron, mold, something older. Inside, shadows, crates, salt-dusted uniforms. One locker, melded shut. He pried it. Metal groaned. Door opened like it didn't want to. Only one boot inside. Old, cracked. Left foot. He reached in. Something jammed in the toe. A paper roll. Tiny, fragile. Unfurled with a shake. Wes read it aloud. "They speak in the pipes. They eat memory. Day 10, we'll all know. Day 11, we'll all forget. Day 12, they walk." The shed creaked. He froze. A shadow passed behind the frosted window. Tall, bent wrong. Didn't move like a person. He didn't wait. Ran. The wind screamed through metal grates. He didn't look back. Didn't breathe right until the hotel door slammed shut behind him. Then he saw it. The journal. The journal. Same burn mark on the corner. Same torn ribbon. It had been in the lab. Claire locked it in a triple-sealed vault. Now it lay neatly on his bed. Wes walked to it slowly. His hand trembled as he opened it. Opened it. One page was dog-eared. The ink was fresh. His name, Wes Granger, written in a hand he didn't recognize. Below it, Day 9 begins at dawn. He dropped the book, stepped back. His phone vibrated. Unknown number. One message. No sender. No timestamp. "You brought them to shore." The lights flickered. The television turned on. Static. Then 7 seconds of black. Then the bridge cam again. The barefoot man. Same stare. Same grin. But this time, he moved. Walked straight toward the camera. Head tilted. Eyes locked. Wes yanked the plug from the wall. But the screen stayed on. He covered it with a towel. Didn't matter. The reflection in the glass showed him something worse. Someone was behind him. He spun. Empty room. He looked again. No one there. But the mirror still showed the figure. Standing, watching. Same white shirt. Same smile. His phone buzzed again. New message. Day 9 is now. From the hallway outside his room. 3 knocks. Measured, even, like footsteps pausing. Then silence. But not silence. The kind that breathes.
Wes didn't sleep. The journal sat open, his name still ink wet. Timestamp? Today. But that was impossible. The journal was locked in a reinforced steel vault. In Seattle, Claire had the only key. He called her. 1 ring, 2, 3, then static. No voicemail, just a whisper. 2 words. Not her voice, not human. Too late. He booked the first flight back, 4:05 a.m. No carry-on, just the journal, in a sealed bag, pressed against his chest. The plane rattled over storm clouds. Each creak sounded like breath. Each shift in pressure echoed voices behind the lavatory wall. He didn't blink. When he landed, he ran. Straight to the lab. Badge access failed. Override code didn't work. The fire door was ajar. Inside, emptiness. Claire's desk overturned. Papers scattered. No signs of struggle. No broken glass. Just absence. But in her chair, a flash drive. No label. Inserted into the tower. He hesitated, then clicked. One file. Claire_last.m4a. He hit play. Heavy breathing. Then, "Wes, if you're hearing this, I couldn't stop it." She was crying. "They're real. Levi was right. I saw it. Room 12 is real. It moves." Static. Then a crash. Screaming. Then nothing. He rewound, paused, played the final second on loop. One whisper before the line cut. It opened. He ran. Levi's trailer was 10 miles west. He didn't drive. He needed to move, to breathe. But when he got there, door hanging off its hinges, interior gutted, no sign of Levi. Only one thing remained. A note, written in black marker on the mirror. Day 10. They walk. Wes stood frozen. The wind rattled through the busted pane. It whistled in triplets, like a chant. He flipped the desk drawer open. A carving, fresh, deep. A latitude-longitude coordinate. Handwritten below, sink point. He traced it to a trench, unlisted, newly discovered. Depth, 14,000 feet. Too deep for commercial subs. Too unstable for drones. No reason to be there. Except one. Sonar showed a massive silhouette. Exact dimensions. Pacific dawn. Someone had re-sunk it. Deliberately. Wes double-checked the upload date of his video. 2 days after, the trench had been flagged for restricted exploration. Coast Guard had no comment. Navy had no record. But Levi knew, and Claire knew. He booked a private expedition. Didn't ask permission. Didn't file a flight plan. He wasn't asking anymore. The night before launch, he reviewed the journal. The last 10 pages had changed. The ink was new. The handwriting wasn't his. Each entry listed a date. Each marked a name. Rodriguez, Thatcher, Liang. All crew from the Dawn. Then Claire. Then Levi. Then one more. Wes Granger. Day 10. Below it, a final sentence. Those who listen, walk. He closed the journal. His ears rang. The screen flickered. He hadn't touched the keyboard. The dive cam activated. Feed from the trench. Black. Still. Then motion. A shape. Not swimming. Not floating. Walking. On the ocean floor. 2 legs. White shirt. Barefoot. Its head turned toward the camera. Eyes glowing faintly. Not reflecting light. Creating it. The feed cut. Wes looked down. The journal's last page now read, "You saw him. Now he knows your name." He didn't blink. Didn't tremble. He opened the case. Loaded his gear. Prepped the sub. He stared at the trench readout. Depth confirmed. Coordinates locked. And whispered, "Then that's where I'm going. Even if no one came back." The lone pod drifted above the trench like a bullet paused mid-flight. Wes heard only his own breath in the headset. Below, the ocean swallowed the blackness. The operator spoke once before drop. "Once you're down there, you're alone." Wes's voice was steady. "I've been alone since day 1. The hatch opened without a sound. Cold water surged in. Then silence. Absolute. Heavy as memory. 10 minutes in, there was nothing but pressure. 20 minutes, alarms flickered, then shut off. Wes's heart matched the pod's thrum. 40 minutes later, something emerged from the abyss. A shape, huge. Metal skin warped like flesh. The Pacific Dawn, but twisted. Hull bent inward, ankles of metal breathing slow. He docked. The latch clicked. He climbed up, pod lights cutting through pitch-black corridors. No silence. Soft humming carried on stale air. Claire's voice, singing. He stopped, head tilting. The tune was one she hummed on long nights in the lab. He whispered, "Claire?"
His own words echoed strange. He followed the humming, step by step, down peeling corridors, past broken lockers, past doors ajar with darkness inside. At the end, no label, only a steel door melted into the wall, edges curved as if flowing. He reached out, pressed hand flat. The door grunted open. Inside, nothing but one chair, facing the corner, still, too still. He stepped in, whispered her name. Claire? The door slammed behind him. Heavy, metal groaned. He spun. Behind the chair, her head lifted. Not Claire. It wore her face, her hair, her features, but the eyes, black glass, reflective, empty. It smiled, mouth too wide, lips parting slow. Its voice, Claire's, soft, cruel. We made it to day 12. Wes stumbled back. No. It laughed, low, mirror laughter in hollow hallway. He ran, corridors twisted, stairs spiraled wrong, light fractured. He passed mirrored walls, reflections showing rooms that didn't exist. He rounded a corner and froze. There it was, himself, on the floor, dead, eyes gouged, mouth crudely stitched shut. He screamed. Echoes responded. A low groan rolled through metal ribs. A chorus of whispers, soft but layered, hot against the back of his neck. The walls pulsed, almost breathing. Steel rivets started bleeding. Red rivulets traced seams, dripping slowly. Wes sank to his knees, pressed trembling fists to his ears, tried to block out the sound. The thing in Claire's skin glided closer. No footsteps, just hovering. It spoke. "Do you remember, Wes?" He shook his head, tears in his eyes. "Can you see your end?" Fear welled. He backed away. He saw the door, melted. Grasping its frame yielded nothing. He was trapped. The metallic hum intensified. Heartbeat pulsed from the halls. The ship was alive, and it wanted him. He stood, voice shaking. "I see it now. This is a cage." Black-eyed Claire smiled wider. Once unlocked it. Wes's breath caught. He realized he was the key. The door shut, hinges groaned. The cage constricted. Red rivulets dripped from ceiling bolts. They pooled at his feet. His reflection in the blood-slick floor flickered. He stared into the void ahead, fear trembling like static. He vowed, "I will not let you out." Behind him, the black-eyed Claire advanced. The walls pulsed again. He inhaled and lunged for the door. Crash. The lights cut. For a heartbeat, pure darkness. Then, heartbeat echoed. That was when he knew. The cage was real, and it loved the lock.
Wes sprinted until pain seared his lungs. He passed the mess hall, plates frozen in decay, mold twisting through cold food. Corridors warped around him. Time was broken. Not past, not present, all moments bleeding together. Then a scream, high, not his, a man's voice, frantic. "Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget." He followed it, through narrow vents, past distorted signs, toward the engine room. Lights flickered in agony. Metal shuddered beneath his steps. Inside, he found him, Levi, chained to a thick pipe, eyes bloodshot, hands raw. He had clawed the steel raw. Above him, words carved deep into the wall. Day 13, they choose. "Levi!" Wes shouted. No response. Levi didn't look up. His voice was low. "Too late. You opened it. You let it out." "What did I let out? What is it?"
Levi's eyes met his, vertical slits, snake-like. His voice trembled. "You think it lives on the ship?" He paused. "The ship still lives in it." Wes's heart thundered. Levi laughed. Deeper, unhinged, jaw cracking, blood oozed from gums. The laughter turned guttural. "It needed you, Wes. You made it seen again." Wes stumbled backward. He hit a panel, and it sprang open. Inside, a small black box glowed red. A tiny lens blinked, still recording. Event log, day 0, present, was stenciled on its side. Wes reached for it, pressed play. Instantly, voices, tens of them, terrified, crying, praying, all whispering the same mantra: "Don't let them out." He fast-forwarded through dozens of clips, each clip shorter, faster, tension mounting. Then, one labeled Day 14, uplink complete. He stared at it, fingers frozen. He didn't press play. He yanked the drive, shoved it into his pack. He turned, ran. Sirens flared, thin, urgent, not alarms, something organic raging through steel. The ship responded. Groans shook the bulkheads, pipes rattled, lights pulsed like a heartbeat. Wes leapt into the stairwell. Every step vibrated. Metal walls bled rivulets of dark red, the taste of iron in the air. Behind him, Levi screamed, not a name, a code, a threat. Wes raced down, stairs curved impossibly, corridors looped like Mobius. He reached a hatch, but the wheel was gone, just smooth steel. He pounded the door, no give. Shouts echoed, not human. Something deep roared. He slid down the wall. His body shook. He pulled the flash drive from his pack, fumbled to attach it to his phone. Screens flickered. He finally opened it. The last transcript was a countdown. Numbers crawled. 15, 14, 13, 12. He stared at 13. He looked up. The stairwell behind him pulsed darker. A low hum filled the space. Then footsteps, slow, unsteady, approaching. He held his breath. 3 steps away, it stopped. Silence. Then a whisper, not his name, a command. "Open it." He swallowed. He knew which door it meant, and the pulse was rising. It was choosing. He clutched the drive tight, fingers white-knuckled. The sound returned, closer. 2 steps. His heart thundered like an engine. 1 step, then silence. Air pressure dropped. He exhaled, and in the silence came a voice behind him. "We choose now." He reached the deck and froze. The sub was gone, tether severed. Air pressure hissed through the pod's cracked seals. He tested the hatch, snug. No escape. Depth read, 14,000 feet. Oxygen, 23 minutes. His mind unraveled with each heartbeat. Behind him, the ocean glowed. Not bioluminescence, but something alive. A massive shape coiled in the black water. It wasn't fish, it wasn't whale. More like shadow given weight, an abyssal serpent circling its prey. It wrapped around the Pacific dawn, squeezing, folding in on the hull, as if testing each seam, each rivet. Wes dropped the black box to the deck. His fingers left wet prints on the metal. It slid and stopped near the sub's docking ring. He didn't move to retrieve it. The shape in the sea began to pulse, light rippling outward, drawing the ship into a current too powerful for steel. The deck groaned. A low voice hummed from the walls. It was familiar. Claire's voice, warped, singing the old lullaby she used when they pulled all-nighters in the lab. He gritted his teeth. Then, without warning, he wasn't on the ship anymore. He stood in his childhood bedroom. Rain lashed the window. Gray light seeped through the curtains. A softer world, but nothing was safe. He blinked. "Time for bed, sweetheart," whispered his mother, perched in the doorway, face peaceful. She stepped forward, smiling too wide, eyes too dark. Her clothes soaked, hair stringing over her face. He realized it wasn't his mother, just a face wearing her skin, stretched too thin. A soft whisper, "You brought me back." Then a smile that held too much hunger. He staggered. Flash. He was back on the ship, nose bleeding, breath shallow. He tasted metal on his tongue. He staggered forward, chest heaving. Ahead, the narrow hallway pulsed. Figures waited, crew members, but they weren't alive. Their posture precise, movements synchronized, heads tilting in unison, hollow eyes tracking him. A stunned silence fell over the corridor. One figure stepped forward, Captain Ellison, dead 20 years. His uniform crisp, face calm, eyes vacant. He reached out a hand. His voice was slow, hollow, weighted with fate. "You're the last key." Wes's chest seized. He dropped the black box to the floor. It rolled, lights dancing across the metal grate. He forced himself to speak, voice broken. "If I'm the key, I can lock it." He lunged. Smash. The black box shattered against the deck plates, showering sparks across the corridor. Light cascaded in patterns like fireflies trapped in steel. The humming stopped. The crew figures paused. Walls shook. Then, darkness swallowed everything. 3 minutes of nothing. No hum, no groan, no light. Then, a sound from deep beneath. It breathed. Long, slow, deliberate. Lights flickered back. Emergency red glow lined the ceiling. The crew figures vanished. The hallway was empty. The deck buckled. Wes stumbled toward the sub. The rescue pod still bobbed, broken walkway beneath it cracking in ripples. He didn't pause to understand. He dove inside, slamming the hatch. He fumbled with switches. Light sputtered. The pod framed with his face, wild eyes, blood drying on his nose. He punched the ascent command. He awoke, gasping for air. Flotation bag inflated. The pod rocked in pitch-black water, then crested. He spilled out onto open sea, lungs burning. Waves clapped the capsule. He waited until the sub sank back beneath the surface, to confirm all was gone. He shielded his eyes against the dawn sun. The Pacific dawn was gone. Not sunk, not destroyed. It had vanished, erased. His dive chipset melted. The metal under his fingers had turned rubber soft. His gear scorched holes. But the black box's flash drive was warm in his jacket pocket, intact. He pulled it out with trembling fingers. Its label, Day 0, Restart. He stared at the title like it was a prophecy. Wind whipped the sea around him. The rescue beacon blanked. He didn't press it. He stared at Day 0, Restart. He whispered it aloud. Because even in the light, the cage had followed him. And now, the game reset. 2 weeks later, Wes sat at a steel table in a windowless room. The air buzzed with fluorescent hum. No clocks, no decor, no signs, just silence, and the man in the gray suit. Thin, pale, older than he looked. No ID, just a briefcase and a tape recorder placed neatly between them. "You've been through an ordeal, Mr. Granger." His voice was dry, as if read from a manual. Wes didn't answer. He reached into his coat, pulled out the flash drive, and slid it across the table. The man didn't touch it. He studied it like it was radioactive. "Do you know what you brought back?" he asked. Wes let out a bitter laugh. "I brought back proof." The man's lips twitched. "No, you brought back a contagion." Wes frowned. "What are you talking about?" The overhead lights dimmed, just for a second. From beyond the room, faint voices filtered in.
soft, indecipherable whispers. But Wes heard them, recognized them. Crew voices, Claire's voice, his own. "We've reviewed the contents," the man continued calmly. "The data structure is abnormal. There are embedded sub-frequencies. Not audio, not language. Syllables that affect cognition." Wes leaned forward. "It's just a log, audio logs from the black box." "No," the man said softly. He finally placed one finger on the flash drive. The table shuddered, subtly, like it inhaled. "These are not logs, they're blueprints. You brought back a way for it to build again." Wes's skin crawled. Build what? The man stared through him. A mirror, one that reflects something not meant to exist here. A deep alarm throbbed through the facility. Red lights spun to life. An automated voice announced, "Level 3 breach, containment compromised." Wes stood. "What is this?" The man didn't flinch. He simply turned toward the glass wall that separated them from the observation corridor. Claire stood there, alive, pale, motionless, eyes like black mercury. She smiled, then whispered. The sound wasn't loud, but the effect was instant. The observation glass trembled. A fine fracture split across it like lightning. The alarm cut out. So did the lights. Darkness. Then emergency red flooded the room. Wes backed away. "Claire?" The man stayed seated, calm. "That's not Claire." She pressed her hand to the glass. It began to melt. "You were never supposed to dive," the man said. Wes turned to him. "You knew this would happen." "It wanted you to find her," the man said. "It used your grief, your pattern recognition, your human need to solve." Claire's voice leaked through the cracks in the glass. Words in no known language. And yet, he understood them. His nose bled. His heart skipped. "It needed someone desperate," the man continued. "Someone persistent enough to pull it back into memory." Wes clutched his chest. "What is it?" The man finally stood. "It's a virus of perception, a parasite that enters through belief." Claire, or the thing that wore her face, stepped through the melted glass. Not a door, just matter folding around her. Her skin shimmered like heat waves. Her voice filled the room. "You heard us. You listened. You remembered." The man faced her directly. "Protocol 7, he said. His voice triggered a burst of heat from the ceiling. "Incineration system." Claire's form screamed, but not in pain. In joy. As if release was the goal. The fire turned red, then white. And just like that, she vanished. Not ashes, just absence. Wes collapsed. The man helped him up. "We bought seconds, maybe minutes." "You knew," Wes whispered. "We've known since 1999, the man admitted. "But the moment we forget, it returns." Wes looked down. The flash drive was still intact, still warm. And its label now read, "Day 15, listen." He grabbed it. "You have to destroy this." The man didn't take it. "We've tried. It doesn't end." Wes stared at him. "Then what do we do?" The man gave a single answer. "Forget." The lights returned. The alarms went silent. Doors sealed. They were alone again. Then the room changed. It wasn't the white chamber anymore. It was the bridge of the Pacific dawn. Wes was standing, alone. Claire's voice echoed through the comms. "We start again." The world changed faster than it could understand. It began with glitches. Phones rang once, then played back voices that didn't match any known contact. Whispers behind podcasts. Static in live streams that resolved into coordinates. Then came the children. Across 3 continents, they drew the same image without prompt. A ship, bent metal, a room with no door, and always in one corner, a figure, barefoot, watching. No one taught them this. They just knew. Hospitals filled with sleepwalkers, people who whispered in their sleep. Same syllables, same cadence. They all said the same phrase.
Day 1 has begun. The media spun, governments denied, clerics called it prophecy. But online, the truth spread like fire, and the fire couldn't be put out. Wes Granger had vanished. No paper trail, no bank activity, no body. But his last upload survived. 47 seconds, shot in low light, his face pale, eyes sunken. No sound until the last 3 seconds. He leaned forward, lips cracked, and whispered, "You were warned." Then his pupils dilated, turned black, not shaded, reflective, like mirrors looking in. The feed got out, but not before every device that played it glitched. Some overheated, others shut down, but all of them left one thing behind, a file, untitled, empty. But when opened, it made a sound, humming, like someone singing far down a hallway. And the voice wasn't Wes's, it was hers, Claire, or what used to be. After that came the marks. People started carving, walls, railings, skin. No one taught them the words, they just knew them. Over and over, across every country, every alphabet. Don't let them out. The phrase became outlawed. Internet platforms banned it. Police scrubbed it from walls. But the more it was erased, the more it came back. 12,000 cargo vessels were grounded, 400 of them burned. Coastal cities sealed docks, banned fishing. Didn't matter, because by then, the ship wasn't in the sea anymore. It was in us. The dream spread faster than any virus. Doctors called it shared constructive hallucination syndrome. Politicians called it mass delusion. But every single dreamer saw the same thing. A steel hallway, a flickering light, and a door that moved. Room 12. It wasn't fixed to geography anymore. It had roots in consciousness. It grew in silence. It fed on gaps, on what we forgot. The girl in Tunisia who stopped speaking. The pastor in Idaho who pulled out his own tongue. The radio DJ in Manila who locked himself in the booth and whispered live for 72 hours. Day 3 becomes day 6. Day 6 becomes day 9. But day 13 is a choice. He died on air, mouth open. Not from dehydration, not from exhaustion, but from silence. They found him with a single phrase carved into his soundboard. Listen backward. And those who did, those who played the humming in reverse, heard something worse. Not voices, coordinates, commands, names. And every name matched someone who had vanished on the Pacific dawn. Then came the void hours, blank space. Traffic cameras blacked out between 3:11 a.m. and 3:17 a.m. Surveillance feeds looped everywhere at the exact same second. People called them silence events, each one longer than the last, each one ending with a new phrase appearing. You left the door open. And every time, someone new disappeared. Not abducted, not murdered, erased. No birth record, no digital trail, even their memories fractured. Families remembered wrong faces, wrong names. Reality was no longer a consensus. It was leaking. Every airport now had thermal scanners calibrated not for temperature, but for sound reactivity. Those who hummed without knowing were detained, disappeared. Schools outlawed singing, hospitals banned stethoscopes, because it had learned to mimic. Every sound we trusted, it repeated, bent, corrupted. Then came the final broadcast. No one knows who sent it or from where, but every screen in Times Square lit up. No fanfare, just a countdown. 0012. The final 12 days. Each hour, a new symbol appeared. Each one resembled a part of the ship. Each one, when fed into voice generators, sang the same sequence.
Then the final glyph, Room 12. Across the world, millions woke to find a door where none had been. Wooden, white, unmarked. Some opened it. None came back. Others heard knocks from the inside. Children pointed to them and asked, "Who's that in the wall?" Governments collapsed. And then silence fell. Global. For 13 minutes and 13 seconds, no device recorded any sound. No voice, no music, not even the wind. And when the sound returned, it wasn't ours anymore. The world didn't end. It changed. Now, everyone dreams the same dream. A hallway, a door, and a voice whispering your name. So if you hear humming tonight, if you wake up to find a door where none should be, if you think someone called you from the other side, don't open it, don't speak, don't answer, because that means day 13 has begun, and this time it remembers you.